I think the value of CPRS membership it's difficult to really sort of quantify. It's something that anyone who's entering the profession definitely needs to do. I was fortunate enough in my first job in PR, it was my boss at the time that just told me that he was signing me up to be a member. And I didn't really have any expectation or knowledge of what the organization was. But that was well over 25 years ago, and it's single-handedly been the best investment that's happened for me. It's been my introduction to this community of communicators across Canada who've helped shape and advise my career through its stages. It's the opportunity to learn through the various professional development and things like that. I mean, it offers all of the things that you would expect a professional association is going to provide. So it has the professional development, it has the awards program, it has the job boards, and all of those things are incredibly valuable. But there's just something about CPRS that really sets it apart from other professional organizations I've had exposure to. And it really is that network of people. It's 1,1500 members strong, and it has somehow been able to retain that feeling of family. And it's very easy to get to know people within the association, whether just through exposure of them doing professional development events, or you're meeting people, at different events, you're sitting at a table with them, whatever it might be. But it exposes you to all of these like subject matter experts in areas that maybe you don't have a lot of expertise in. And I've always found fellow members to be really, really receptive if you're reaching out to say, hey, I'm working on something in my work, and I've noticed that you've had some experience in this area, and what would be some advice you could offer. I think that kind of stuff is immeasurable as far as some benefits. I think what I've learned is, like everything, you're going to get out of your CPRS membership what you put into it. So as a new member, there's certainly lots of resources there for you. And then as you may get more evolved in your career and in your membership, I really encourage people to start to get involved in the organization, and whether that's volunteering on the local level with some events or initiatives that might be happening, getting on the local board, right up to putting your name forward for a national committee or the national board. It's been an incredible experience to work alongside some of the best PR people in Canada that I've gotten to know, that I wouldn't have got to know if it weren't for my volunteer involvement with CPRS. So beyond just joining and taking advantage of the things that the society offers you as a member, I really encourage people to give back to the society with your time, with your expertise, with your energy, and you'll be amazed at what that pays you back in dividends. For me, it's given me lifelong learning, leadership development, as well as access to some of the great people across the country that I am lucky to count on as dear friends. But it really, stuff like the leadership development is all things that you can practically apply in your work life. So I can't say enough about the value of CPRS. I think one of the things that I'm noticing, I don't know whether it quite can get defined as a trend or not, but I really think what we're seeing in the dilution of public trust in organizations is something that we really need to pay attention to. And it's happened for a variety of reasons. I think not the least of which is, we have some who are using the tools that we have in public relations and communications and they're not using those in the most ethical or upfront ways. They're using them to advance an agenda or to persuade people a certain way that's maybe not in the best public interest. And then that's resulting, I think, in a healthy amount of mistrust in our organizations, which makes our job more difficult, but it also makes our job so much more important. But I think also the way that people are reacting with that mistrust, and just the tone that you're seeing, particularly in social media channels, just the level of anger and disagreement and how they're voicing that is, I think, is really, really troubling. And I think it's an opportunity for public relations to really step up to not only make sure that the organizations that we're representing are doing work in a forward, upfront, ethical way to engage people, to ensure that we're earning their trust, but we're also there to maybe set the tone for what public discussion should be and how we can advance that in a respectable and respectful way. For me, it kind of comes down to your values need to align with what your organization's values are. And so for me, CPRS has always played that vital role in helping to shape my professional values, my professional ethics. And it starts right at the point of membership when we sign on and we pledge that the 9-point code of professional standards. It's a part of becoming a member. We say we're going to adhere to that. So that's kind of the first introduction that you get, that it helps kind of tell you a little bit about what ethical public relations is going to look like in Canada. It's that roadmap that helps to guide us to ensure that our practice is ethical, it's of high standard, and that's what we want to be setting in Canada. So for me, I work in local government, so things like honesty, transparency, accountability, respect, responsibility, those things are all core. Those values form the ethical core of my work. And it's important that the work I do on behalf of my employer aligns with my personal values and also the values of my organization. So it needs to be a part of everything, especially how we're presenting ourselves to residents when I'm speaking of my work with our employer as a local government. So are we approachable? Are we giving residents meaningful opportunity to engage with us so that they can make the best decisions to advance our region? Are we delivering services that are responsive to our residents' needs? How do we know what those needs are? So for me, I think this is where communications and public relations can best serve our organizations. We can be that conduit between the organization and our audiences. We can help shape how people interact with us, how we're promoting ourselves, and almost like what that personality of our organization is. Like if the public had to define who we are in personality terms, I think we play a role in setting that. In those rare instances, and thankfully it is rare, where things seem to be at a crossroads between my organization's objectives and my own objectives and values, that's where, again, I've looked to CPRS for some help, whether it's reaching out to a fellow member who I know may have been through a similar situation, to even using something like the newly introduced the Code of Professional Standards, that decision tree, which I think is a fantastic tool. I think that's where, again, we rely on CPRS to help us inform those decisions that we're making to ensure that our PR practice is sound and respectful and ethical.